Jackloaf. 1,200 films. All horror all the time. Still continuing the quest on the journey of 2019 films. We got quite a few today. 4, 5, 6 of the 8 are from 2019 on this episode. Quickly, the rating scale, of course, on the bottom is dumpster fire garbage. I almost made a new low category with high life, but I'm just going to keep it as that. Then we go up from there. We go can't quite recommend to okay if desperate, to put it on the watch list, to put it on top of the watch list. And first we start with Fractured, a Netflix film. 2019, of course, critic rating of 62%, audience score of 50%. Sam Worthington here with his family are on a little road trip, and the daughter gets injured. Well, she got attacked by a dog. So they take her to the hospital, then they can't find the kid, then he can't find his wife, so he starts blaming the hospital, and starts going crazy. Honestly, I kind of figured this film out about halfway through. But it was still a good little journey. But the ending was okay. Stephen Tobolowsky popped up in this. It's good to see him. Some may remember him as Ned Ryerson, Needle Nose Ned from the Groundhog Day movie. If you don't remember him, this was his big line in that film.
Watch out for that first step. It's a doozy.
Yes, that was a good little movie, Groundhog Day. But back to Fractured. Some of these critics were a little overly harsh on this film. Dan Jackson of Thrillist or whatever, it doesn't matter. This was what he said. This is all one sentence too. Sadly, Worthington remains trapped in Netflix genre movie purgatory, unable to escape the streaming waiting room he's found himself in. So you're bashing him for doing a Netflix movie? Does this guy not know that Netflix won Best Picture last year with their film? The title I can't remember. It was with the white guy chauffeuring the black singer around. I don't remember. But everything can't be Avatar. Everything can't be Man on Ledge. But yeah, I thought this was fine. I would say it's put it on the watch list. It's a good film. Then we move on to Bloody Birthday. I incorrectly said this film was called Bloody Birthday Bash. It's not. It's just Bloody Birthday. From 1981, critic rating of 60%, audience score of 36. Bloody Birthday. Okay. It's a slasher film, and the slashers in this film are all 10 years old. This girl has been renting out a peephole in her closet to other young boys so they can watch her sister undress. So, somehow that leads to murder. They, start by killing this adult, and then they try to trap this one boy in a refrigerator in a junkyard. He eventually escapes, but yeah. Then you think you've seen it all. I was just about ready to tap out on 1980s horror films because I thought, I've seen it all. And then Bloody Birthday comes along. I was like, no, I have not seen it all. These little kids were little bastards. But interesting. Yes, I would say it's put on the watch list. Shock value. Oh, 2000. Speaking of child murderers, this is the reverse. This is his little children being murdered. The next one, we got 2019 Belzebuth. Critic rating of 75%, audience score of 73. Now, I think this is 2019. It's what Wikipedia says. Rotten Tomatoes says 2018. IMDb says 2017. But when I was looking through all the reviews, none of the reviews were anything but from 2019. So I'm considering this a 2019 film. Stars Tobin Bell, who was the star of the Saw films. Did you know he is 77? He's getting up there. But the very first scene of this movie is a nurse slaughtering little newborn babies. And then there's a lot more child killing from there on. Tobin Bell is going around putting curses on, or possessing people, I guess, to commit these child murderers. And then at the end, he's trying to convince us he's the good guy. Well, there's this, it's a lot of this is in Spanish because it takes place in Mexico. So the first third of this film, I say, is all in subtitles. But this Mexican cop is trying to figure out what's going on. Tobin Bell is trying to explain to him what's going on, and it's something bigger than him. But fascinating film, very disturbing. But if you can get over the child killing, it's pretty good. I'd just say put it on the watch list. Yeah, go for it. 2019 House LLC III. Critic rating of 20%. Audience score non-existent. The first one was good. The second one was watchable. This one took a poo on screen. Complete dumpster fire garbage. It was just a rehashing of the first two, and it used a lot of footage from the first two to fill in on this. I swear they only had about 40 minutes of original film and just used flashbacks and stuff to fill. Completely avoid. Pure dumpster fire garbage. Avoid. 2007 Storm Warning. There is no critic rating for this and an audience score of 36%. This was the film I had spent a lot of time trying to find and finally found it in a Southern Carolina, what do they call it? I don't remember. Secondhand store. Thrift store, excuse me. This couple, they're out parasailing around and the storm comes and they go to this little island. This is an Australian film. And they go to this other little island that they find to seek refuge, and they start exploring this little island, and there's a family that lives there, 2 grown men and their poppy. So they befriend the men and are hoping, that they can be kind enough to take them to the mainland or give them directions or something. And of course, these guys are crazy and loony and only want to really do some raping. So, and if they're in the house and make too much noise, you hear Poppy stirring up the stairs, and they start shushing. It's, don't wake Poppy. That's the last thing you want to do is wake Poppy. Well, Poppy eventually pops up. He's played by John Brumpton, who I knew I had seen in something else. He is also the father in The Loved Ones, which was probably my top 3 horror films of all time. Rotten Tomatoes has this at 98%, The Loved Ones. Can't recommend that film any higher than anything else in the world, but it's a great film. But Storm Warning was okay too. I won some awards for most graphic kills, which is interesting. But took a little while to get going, so I would say put on the watch list. Barely though. It's just above okay if desperate. And then we got 2019, we got Eli. I wrongfully said this was Ellie. It's not Ellie, it's Eli. It's a boy. It's a little boy who has no immunities. This is basically a bubble boy. So they take him to the special hospital run by Lily Taylor, who was the mother in the first Conjuring movie. And so they're trying to treat Eli, not Ellie. And This obviously it's an old building, so there's some things going on. A lot of dead, ghostly children bouncing around. The ending caught me off guard. I did not see that coming. That was very well orchestrated, but still overall I was just barely okay if desperate. This is for people that don't see a lot of films. It's for people that you see in those trailers where it just shows the people reacting to the film, jumping out of their seats for every scare, you know. I don't think I mentioned they had a critic rating of 48%, audience score of 41. But yes, it's just yeah, okay if desperate. 2019 AMI, Rotten Tomatoes had nothing on this. Wikipedia has nothing on this. IMDb has it a 3.9 out of 10. Basically, this app on this girl's phone makes her, convinces her to start killing people that aren't willing to do what she wants them to. So, it's this girl that's lost her mother, so she made the voice in the cell phone sound like her mother, but the mother on the phone is telling her to do bad things, and she just does them. And I got through it. It was violent enough and weird enough to get through it, but still, I just barely put this in the okay if desperate category. Nothing special. Then finally we go on to our featured review, 2019 In the Tall Grass.
I came looking for you! What?
How did you get here before us?
I don't know.
My boy, he's lost in here too.
This is nuts!
It's only a field.
What's happening? He went the other way!
I'm never gonna find her.
You can find things, but it's easier once they're dead.
In the Tall Grass, shockingly, critic rating of 37%, audience score of 37%. That's baloney. Stephen King and Joe Hill co-wrote this. Patrick Wilson stars in this, who is a very busy actor, and Rachel Wilson, no relation, who I don't think I've seen her since Saw 3D. Jeez. Maybe she does television, I don't know. But anyway, these brothers, sisters driving around, and they hear these voices. I don't know if their car breaks down or they to stop somewhere. Anyway, I think they stopped somewhere because someone had to pee. But if they stop somewhere, and then they hear this boy out in the grass, the tall grass, and he's saying he can't find his way out. So the brother and sister go in there to pull him out, and they get lost. And then other people are also in there, and they're lost, and they're trying to find each other and trying to find a way to get out, and they cannot. So it spirals and spirals out from there. Kind of reminded me of Blair Witch and kind of the tensity. Kind of. That you don't really know what's going on. And you don't really know what's going to be around the next step. Kind of like that. But not quite. Sort of. But still, excellent film. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Don't know if I'll be reading the novel. But yeah, put that on top of the watch list. In the Tall Grass. Next time, we got a Spanish film that has been getting a lot of buzz as top horror film of the year called Tigers Are Not Afraid. So I'll be reading some subtitles. Then we got a Hulu original film called Pledge. Then we finally have Annabelle Comes Home. 47 meters down, 47 meters down, uncaged. I'm drinking Mountain Dew. It's on purpose. Was not fond of the first 47 meters down at all, so the bar is low for the sequel. And then we have the CM Punk film. CM Punk, ex-wrestler and MMA fighter, I guess, starred in a horror film, this year called Girl on the Third Floor. I cannot wait to see this. And then a Shudder exclusive, The Furies. And then a Netflix movie called Dark Side of the Moon. Thought that was a Pink Floyd album. But then the retro review will be a movie called The Entity. I have been looking for The Entity since I was 5 or 6 years old. I remember being a small child, sitting on the floor playing with my He-Man figures or wrestling figures or G.I. Joes. I don't remember, but it was like in the afternoon on a weekend, and I remember my mom was watching this film in the same room. And I started watching this film with her and stopped playing with my toys because this film was insane. I basically remember this woman being, let's say, assaulted by this unseen entity. And she'd bring in doctors and then ghost hunters and et cetera, to help figure out and try to stop what was going on. And forever, I couldn't, until just about a few months ago, did I even know the title of this film. I just remembered certain scenes. So then I saw a list of top films from the 80s, and then I saw something that could be it. So I watched the trailer, and bam, 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 that was it. That was the film I've watched when I was 5. The Entity, and but it was nowhere to be found. Could not find it anywhere. And eventually they just re-released it on DVD. So Netflix has it, and it's in stock, ready to go, so I will be watching after 30-some years. So I'll be revisiting The Entity. I just recently revisited The People Under the Stairs, and it wasn't really that great. I thought a lot of people loved that film, and I just thought, I saw it when I was 10. I didn't think it was that great. So I watched it now, thinking maybe I missed something. No, just wasn't that great now. But yep. So we got that to look forward to. So until then, see you around.